What's up everybody, welcome back to the vlog, and today we're going to be doing a header install on a 2014 Chevrolet Camaro. We're going to be installing these bad boys. Oh yeah, 1 7/8. Hell yeah. Put that back up. So I already started on it before I recorded, but all I did was remove the manifold, remove the spark plugs, and I loosened all the bolts for the exhaust manifold. Remove the spark plug wires. Right now I'm in the process of the other side. I also removed the fuel line because it was gonna get in my way. I still got to remove the dipstick and dipstick tube. Remove the spark plugs on this side as well. So that should be it, and it's hot today. Alright, let's get to it. Also too, for like the exhaust bolts, I always like to use rust penetrant. It's to knock off the rust on the exhaust bolts, make it easier. And I usually let them soak, but I sprayed down this side, both sides already. I'm gonna spray the side I'm working on a little bit more, just to make it easier so the bolts won't strip coming out. So for the bottom exhaust bolts, I like to use a 1/2 inch 15 deep socket and about, say what is this, about 8-inch extension. I like to have the, I don't know if you see it, it's like a, I guess a wobbly extension. There. That paired with one of these bad boys, oh yeah, gets the job done right. I use that not for the exhaust bolts that holds the manifold, but the exhaust bolts that connect the manifold to the actual exhaust. The two on the bottom. Just to clarify, you don't use a 1/2 inch impact to take off the 6 exhaust bolt nuts. So what I did here, took off the manifold. Of course, you removed all 6 exhaust bolts, the oil dipstick tube, the spark plugs, and then the two 15 bolts that hold the exhaust together, which is, after you remove that, you should be good. What I did, I jacked up the car and I got down there. Pretty much straightforward. After that, after you remove the exhaust manifold, these are the 215 studs that go into here. I was telling you about, you couldn't see very much from up there. After that, jack the car up, and these are what bolt onto the exhaust pipe, your factory exhaust pipe. I had 215 nuts, undo them, and of course undo the secondary O2 sensor. And yeah, it just slides out. Both of them are pretty straightforward. So now we're going back in. Since we are reusing the primary O2 sensors, go ahead and soak them down. let them deals soak. Easier. The primary O2 sensor is going to go in here. Yeah, whatever. Let me go ahead and undo it. So, real simple. Go ahead and install the O2 sensor. Sure it's snug. Or tight, should I say? It's tight. It's ready to go back in. Alright guys, so we got the gaskets. We are using OEM gaskets, and we are using brand. We run the risk of exhaust leaks and possible breaking of the exhaust bolts, and then it'll be just a headache. So figure just replace it all at once, do it right the first time. So right now, this is a job in itself. So I didn't do it on camera. It's hard to do holding it. So I pushed in the header without removing the steering shaft. Now I guess with these design headers and all this space, I'm sure they're all different. But these are pace headers, I'm assuming. I don't know. There's some kind of brand of headers, but they're 1 7/8. So I didn't have to remove the steering shaft for this one. I just kind of like forced it almost in a way after a few curse words and push and shoves and moved it. I fished it through without having to remove the steering shaft, so that was pretty. That was my main concern, was removing the steering shaft, because that's a job in itself. But the other side went in pretty easy. So now we're just gonna put the gaskets and the new bolts. Yeah. So on these gaskets, these OEM ones, they always have a side. There's manifold side and there's no writing on this side. So this is the side that goes to the header. Manifold. Just a quick little tip. Got your new exhaust bolts. Set them aside.
do is snug them up a little bit more. See, like that one loose. Okay, don't go too tight, because you're gonna break them both.
Installed. All we gotta do now is put the spark plugs back, and he wants to use MSD wires, so we use MSD wires. Put them back. So of course, after this, it'll be pretty straightforward. I still have to do the other side. Just finish up on this side, do the other side. Oh, turn it on. So he does not have connection pipes, so he's gonna be running open headers until he gets that issue fixed. Also, guys, another too with starting spark plugs. I know I have power tools. You never want to use power tools when starting a spark plug. Do not. You run the risk of cross-threading it, and it'll never be right. You're gonna have to pull off the head. More money, more issues. So always start them by hand and be safe. See, now they're all started by hand. This is my setup. I have a socket with a full extension. Nothing special. So here, I know I said start them. Absolutely, start them. Now this is my preference. Everybody has a different method. So again, without taking so much time. You hear that? Now I didn't tighten it all the way, just until it bottomed out. Again, you're really supposed to use a regular ratchet, but I use this electric ratchet. It makes everything faster. But since I am pretty comfortable with it, I know when to stop. Okay. Okay. After that, I come back with the regular ratchet to tighten it. Just to snug it up a little bit. Snug. 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 Now you don't want these too tight. You run the risk again of stripping the threads and cross-threading and pulling. Whatever. So here's MSD wires. He's applied. We could have used the OEM ones with the heat sleeves, but I think it'll be all right. Since he has high mileage on his vehicle, I was very careful when pulling out the spark plug wires, the OEM ones. So, and he still wants to use MSDs. He went out of his way to buy MSDs. Okay, right here, these are the bendable ones. To bend it, always bend it away from the header, tube itself. That, then go ahead and plug the wires up. Coils, you're gonna hear a couple clicks. That's how you know it's seated good. See that? You hear that? Okay, now me being mine, I like to make sure they're all MSDs all right, showed. Bend that away, bend that away, that way. Alright. It looks nice and neat. This side is good. So now we're gonna move to this side. Same process again. pull the header up, install the gasket, install the bolts, and reinstall the spark plugs. Same process. We're gonna repeat on the other side. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, guys. So this is how we're gonna install the headers. I always fish it from the bottom. I don't know how you do it from the top, but this is how I always done them. It's always better if you have help. I don't know how I'm supposed to hold it. I wonder if we can rest it. Okay. So right now it's resting on the top, I guess, top of the starter. This heat shield. So of course, look, my hands are right here. I'm not holding the header up. This is how you fish it through. Now I'm going to grab it from the top, real quick like. Alright guys, so the Dipstick 2 Bam. Alright guys, for the dipstick tube, now it was a little bit tricky. So I did have to go under there and kind of like fish it through where it's supposed to go so it can go into the oil pan. So I always just to verify which side it's going through. So you see that 15mm nut that holds the dipstick tube? I kind of just like eyeball it, see where it's gonna go. So of course it's gonna go through the middle. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but the hole for the oil pan is directly behind the starter connector. I guess the knock sensor, really. Okay, so the knock sensor behind there, and just fish it through. Make sure you lubricate the O-rings, just to make it easier. You never want to go in dry. So it's pretty much straightforward. Pretty much straightforward, guys. I'm just gonna finish it up, and I'm going to put on the MSDs, and I'll show you all the finish. And then too, he doesn't have connection pipes, so it's gonna be open headers, so it's gonna be stupid loud. Alright guys, another satisfied customer, simple header install.